We're back with Richard Dolan. You know, our colleague Stan Friedman has often been called the UFO cop on the beat. He sort of assigns himself to weed out frauds and tricksters and other folks whose stories are not very good. You're not that guy, Richard. You're not the cop on the beat. But you wrote in this article that you put out a little bit ago that you felt like you needed to stand up on this particular issue because it does sort of flow from a theme that you have developed as much or more than anyone.
Yes, I guess you're talking about the breakaway civilization.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's true, George. I don't own the concept. It's something that I developed a number of years ago, and other people have taken it and run with it, and that's fine. But what I felt a real need to defend isn't really that idea so much as to help defend ufology itself, if I can say that. I mean, this is a field in which, when you look around, you look out at a skeptical establishment and media and political establishment. I feel would still love nothing more than to see this study just lying in ruins. I think there's a lot of forces out there that have us in their crosshairs, and they would like to see genuine UFO research fail. And, you know, I think it's incumbent upon all researchers to be responsible to not to have to be perfect. We all can make mistakes, but at least to do our best and to provide evidence, again, to a world that wants that evidence, and rather than simply making claims that really have no opportunity at all of being substantiated. So what I said, and I guess this could be a challenge, or it was a call to the other individuals who are making these claims, is simply, it doesn't really even matter if I believe you or disbelieve you. I might not believe all of your claims. I might think that some of the claims could be credible. I don't really know. But the fact is, if I can't test it, if I can't examine it, then you have a problem. You have to be able to provide evidence that the rest of us can be able to do something with. And that's the important thing. That's what we have to remind ourselves of. The idea of a breakaway civilization, I think, is it's a hypothesis. I've always considered it that, but I think it's valid. I think it's true. That is an idea that the classified world, the black budget world, has got access to technology that is well beyond what we have in our society, and I do think that is true. I say what I say as a believer in the likelihood of a secret space program. I think that there is probably one. And the evidence that I use is a combination of a few different things. I mean, there are NASA insiders over the years, verifiable individuals whose backgrounds we can confirm, who've talked about discussions within NASA, high levels, through the early 1970s and even in the late 60s, about all of the Apollo and Gemini, flights being tracked by UFOs. And we've got claims of a number of individuals, of astronauts encountering them even on the moon. These stories are not simply isolated stories. There are quite a few individuals at NASA and highly connected to NASA who've talked about this, and that's interesting to me. There's furthermore, so right off the bat, you've got this. If this is true, you've got a motivation for a secret space program. Clearly, if there's something else that's out there, the powers that be would want to be able to deal with that with some level of secrecy. On top of that, you've got good and confirmed testimony of individuals who, while in the United States Air Force, for example, I'm thinking of the case of Simone Mendez, a lady that I spoke to some years ago. She was in the U.S. Air Force at Nellis.
I remember her.
Yeah, she had a top secret clearance in 1981. She was given a top secret message stating that NORAD had detected deep space objects entering Earth's atmosphere. This is a true story. She got a lot of hell for this, and her documents are confirmed. There have been FOIA requests, and absolutely proving that this indeed happened to her. And so now, what was that all about? We've got a number of other accounts of astronauts, cosmonauts, having seen anomalies in Earth orbit. So I think that there's no question that something has been observed that would prompt a secret space program. On top of that, we've got a great deal of evidence of crash retrievals of various UFOs. And again, I always say to someone who's not familiar with the evidence that I think they would be shocked if they took some time to go through the many, many accounts of this having happened and how those accounts have come to us over the years. There's quite a few of them, and we don't know that all of them are true, but there are so many good ones that have been collected over the years that I think, to me, it's a very, very strong case that the U.S. military has been retrieving and studying non-human alien tech and bodies as well. And in fact, Edgar Mitchell, recently deceased Apollo 14 astronaut, for a while was making very explicit statements exactly to that effect. He said he had 2 ultra-high-level contacts who confirmed to him explicitly the existence of programs to study alien technology and bodies. But Edgar Mitchell wasn't the only one to do that, to say that. So if you put all of this together, and then you've got the aerospace journalists, people like James Goodall, people like yourself, who have interviewed countless insiders out of Groom Lake and in the area, I think the case is overwhelming that there has been a program to develop radical technologies that are off limits to the rest of our society, classified patents and so forth, unconventional technologies. So when you look at all of that, and then stories which I credit, like the alien reproduction vehicle story of 1988, brought to us by Mark McCandlish and his colleague Brad Sorensen, these I think are credible accounts dealing with the attempts to replicate non-human technology and to take us off Earth orbit. So all of these things tell me that there's something very likely, very radical that is going on beyond our officially sanctioned truth. So I don't need to be convinced that there are some extreme possibilities. But again, when we get to a point where there are individuals who are claiming direct experience, well, on one hand, you could say it would be logical if you assume that there are such programs that exist. It could be that there would be people from those programs who would say, hey, I was part of it. So on that one hand, it would be logical. On the other hand, those individuals, again, have got to provide something. They've got to provide, even family members, for goodness sake, that would be able to vouch for them. The individuals who have come forward who have alleged to have participated haven't really done anything of the sort. So the rest of us are here saying, okay, great, you've got a story, let's get your evidence. And if you can't provide the evidence, then come back to us when you've got it.
I think I kind of thought that it was going to go away. I heard these rumbles in 2014 when this stuff started, and I think there's no way this story can go on. Nobody's going to believe this. I mean, the part of it, you wrote about it in your article. One of the guys says he went back to see Abe Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. Now, come on.
Well, this was Andrew Basiago, and he's made this claim for many years. I saw Andy this weekend. It's interesting for me because when you meet these people, and in the case of Andy, for me it's impossible not to like him personally. He's a very, very nice, genial guy, and very articulate as well. But I said to him personally, and I'm saying here to you, that I don't believe that claim. I don't find it credible. Just because someone says, yes, I went back in time and there's me in the picture right there. Sorry, but that doesn't cut it whatsoever. It's not evidence. And to call it evidence tells me that you don't really know what evidence truly is.
I was worried for MUFON itself and you as well for the larger topic of ufology. It's hard enough. It's, the organization is scratching and clawing to try to get to respectability and inviting scientific scrutiny. And please take us seriously. And the media doesn't, and a lot of science doesn't. And now you hand those people who don't like it already something like this. What happens? I mean, I'm glad MUFON had really great attendance, best in 20 years. But what happens next year? Do you have to have lap dances?
No, I